Many countries have made huge progress. Singapore, Malaysia, other countries have made huge progress. We didn't make as much progress as a country. We have successive governments have tried to implement this housing program. We went through different phases. We called it at some point slum upgrading, to try and deal with this challenge. We tried, and we were not very successful as a country. I remember when, as deputy president, we tried as the Jubilee administration, part of our Big Four program was housing. And you remember, Charles, that my predecessor, President Uhuru Kenyatta, told me, I have a very good professional in South Africa. And you remember we came for you from South Africa. Correct. You had a good job. But we told you, you have a country called Kenya, which is your home. And you were kind enough to leave the job you had, much more paying than what we were paying you, but for country, you came and joined us. And we tried then to get this program underway, but again, we weren't very successful. When I got the opportunity and the chance and the privilege to be president, I said, this is one thing amongst the many things I want to do. And because it is the right thing to do, we have said here, I've had the country director talk of World Bank, and all the statistics point to a future that is urban. And we have no choice about that future being urban, but we have a choice on what type of urban future we are going to have. Are people going to live in informal settlements? Are they going to live in slums? Or they are going to live in planned, dignified shelter that has dignity? And so, because Kenya is urbanizing, we've just been told by the country director of the World Bank, among the highest in the world, 4.3%. 50% of our population will be living in urban centers by 2050. Maybe 30, maybe 35 million Kenyans, maybe 40 million Kenyans will be living in urban centers by 2050. And many people ask me, who told you that Kenyans need houses? Why are you pushing this agenda of housing? Maybe you are pushing it for other reasons. But I have a simple answer. The answers, the statistics answer them. Kenya is urbanizing, the highest rate, some of the highest rates in the world. We will have 30, 40 million people living in urban centers. If we don't plan about it, we will be living in squalor, as many of our citizens are doing. Secondly, you have citizens that are living in subhuman conditions today. Go to any informal settlement. Mukuru, Soweto, the famous Kibra, just outside this hotel here, Karagita, just here, you have 10,000 people living in a small place. Go down to Molo. I was in Molo and I felt very bad. You have close to 10,000 people living in a small place. You have children staying in little houses with their parents. We had a confession from Kibra. It is the same in Kasarani right here, where kids, 10-year-old kids, are introduced to sex because they live in the same room with their parents. You know, those are the people who are firing my desire to drive this housing agenda, because those kids deserve better than we are giving them today. Those people in informal settlements deserve better from a government. And that is why you asked me about the consequence of my statement. That is why when I handed over the first keys on this program to my dear sister here, Jerusha, I said it and I meant it. It was actually the most consequential day in my political career, because we started to change the trajectory on how Kenyans live. And so that's why this moment is very important. And that's why I'm very proud that we are making these steps. And I must say, all the people who have talked before me, I listened to Susan Kehika. My dear sister, you made the statement I would have made. The understanding, I am very happy that from Susan to my CS to the country director, everybody, we are all appreciating what this is all about, you know? And therefore, this is a very important occasion for me and for us as a nation. And the progress we are making in this space speaks volumes about the kind of future we expect.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We shall revisit some of those aspects very shortly. But Your Excellency, you know, in this country, we've had people talk about shareholding. But right next to you is somebody who, I think when you talk about shareholding, the right shareholding is actually when you own something. And I don't think there is anything that beats owning your own home. And Jerusha, Your Excellency, as I said, first, she's a widow. I think the Bible and even the Quran, many scriptures talk about widows. And so when a widow cries to God, feeling forgotten, you know, and you see that moment where you had the privilege of moving her from the informal settlement and moving into her own home, I believe there is nothing that beats that moment. And so I want to ask Jerusha. She was homeowner number one, and a lot of Kenyans said at that time that those houses, the people who are occupying are not from Mukuru. So, and Your Excellency, I don't know whether you saw some stuff on the social media. They said that Jerusha is another lady from Kisii. So maybe she can tell us whether she oscillates from being in Kisii and being in Mukuru. But with all seriousness, Jerusha, kindly just share with us. And if you're comfortable, you uongee Kiswahili, hakuna shida. Asante sana. Jerusha, over to you.
Asante sana. Kwa majina ni yeye, umesikia naitwa 001 Jerusha Muthoni. Mimi ndiye nilikuwa mtu wa kwanza kupewa nyumba na His Excellency, na nikafurahia sana. Nafikiri mlikuwa mnaona kwa picha pahali nilitolewa kwa slums. Kwa kanyumba kalikuwa kama mvua ikinyesha, ilikuwa ni bara. Lakini kwa sasa hata mkiniangalia kwa ile picha, vile nilikuwa nakaa, sio vile nakaa saa hii. Si ni kweli? Nilikuwa nakaa gashosho kama mama hivi. Lakini within 3 weeks mnaona niko na utofauti. So hii mambo ya affordable housing ni ukweli, sababu mimi niko na hiyo ushuhuda. Nilipewa hiyo nyumba pale pahali tulikuwa tunaishi, maji saa hii pahali ninaishi maji ni mingi, na si ya kununua. Pale tulikuwa tunanunua maji shilingi 10 mtungi. Niko na familia watu 9. Ni maji ngani, ni maji ya pesa ngapi naweza nunua? Ilikuwa ni shinda. Ndio unaona sasa ninaoga kwa siku mara 2 ama mara 3. Ndio unaona kauso kameng'aa hivyo. Watoto wanafurahia sana. In fact hata tule tushosho nilikuwa nimeacha pale, tumehama tu wote, wamesema pale wakai. Hata ukituma katoto kakikataa unamwambia tunarudi pale, anasema hapana nitume, sababu hataki kurudi Misri. So mimi ninafurahia sana. Na hata wale watu wanasema rais anatembea na mimi Kisii, ametembea na mimi Kisumu nikipika samaki, ni uongo mtupu. Ni wale watu wanajaribu kupinga hii mradi, lakini haitustui. Tunasema kazi bila break, sababu alituambia anataka kuinua wale watu wako chini, awainue bottom up. Na ni ukweli, mimi nimeinuliwa, nimetolewa chini, niko juu. Na ninadhani bado nitaendelea nikiinuliwa. Pali tuko pale, security ni tight. Pale hata kuna parking, mkikuja kuna pali pa kupark. Your Excellency pia nataka unibaie kagari niwe nikipaki pale. Niwe mtu wa kwanza kupaki kagari pale. Parking iko sawa. Kila kitu iko sawa. So kazi iendelee bila break.
You can have a conversation with her, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much, Cherusha. It is true. Vile na kuona leo kidogo iko tofauti. Sijui ni kwa sababu gani, lakini Mungu ni mwema. Na sio Cherusha peke yake. Tuko na wananchi wengi. Lilian hapa ambaye ni community health promoter. Just a simple person. She's also a homeowner in Homa Bay, I think. In Mukuru. We have, many people who are experiencing life-changing situations because of where they were and where they are today. Cherusha here has told you, in the Mukuru slums, 3, 4, 5 families share a toilet that you have to pay to use a toilet. People, just imagine yourselves in a situation. Umekazwa hapo, you want to use a toilet and you don't have money. And there are people who are asking us, who told you to build houses? Surely, people, let us be human. We have real situations that call on us to do something about. Cherusha hapa, kabla hatujaongea vile nitakununulia gari. Bado niko na watu wengi pale ulitoka Mukuru, hawajahama. That is my first assignment. Wale wako Mukuru pale hawajakuwa kama wewe. Hiyo ndio kazi yangu ya muhimu kwanza. Na sio Mukuru peke yake. Tuko na watu hapa Garagita. Tuko na watu Bahati. Tuko na watu many parts of Kenya. We have 100 and something informal settlements in Kenya. 7 million people live in squalor in our country. And the numbers are not going down, the numbers are going up because more and more people are coming into cities. And we must prepare and we must, work ahead of time to make sure they don't come and join those in informal settlements. They come into organized, livable cities. And so, Cherusha, tuliongea wakati nilikuwa kwako. Wewe umepata kujua tofauti kati ya mahali ulikuwa naishi na mahali unaishi sasa.
Yes.
Ndio. Mimi naamini ya kwamba ungependa wale wanaishi vile ulikuwa unaishi zamani, vile wapate nafasi ya kupata nyumba vile wewe ulipata. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
Ni kweli. Hata wamenisumbua saa hii, hata wale walikuwa napinga mradi wakinitusi wanashindanga kwangu. Hata naushanga nyumba jioni. Kila dakika ni odini, ni ukweli, wanakuja kuhakikisha. Nafikiri hata ukiangalia kwa TikTok wengi wanakuja kupiga picha na mimi. Wengi walikuwa nasema nilinyang'anywa, president alikuwa anatudanganya, Mama Jerusha amenyang'anywa vitu. So watu wanakuja kila siku, sasa wamekubali. Sasa wananisumbua, tutajaza namna gani, tutapata nyumba namna gani. So ni ukweli, ninaomba pia na wao wakuje juu wamenisumbua sana.
Okay, so and it is important for me to say this, to contextualize what Jerusha is saying. We have a pipeline of 700,000 housing units. We have the first 2,300 have been given out. Another 11,000 are in the stage of completion. We will be handing out keys. When I come to Nakuru, for example, in the next month or two, the houses in Molo are ready. The houses in Bahati are ready. I'll be coming to do groundbreaking for the houses outside here in Karagita, because it is my intention that the people living in the slum here in Karagita must equally benefit from this program the same way Jerusha is benefiting. As I go to Molo in Nakuru here, I will also be launching the construction of 2,700 housing units in Kasarani. And for your information, I have been to Kasarani in Molo. It is, let me just say, it's not a good place, because you have people living in very difficult